Showing again with another review, and for the subject of this video, since we were less than a month from the 13th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks, I figured to do a review of the quintessential 9/11 documentary, which is, big stretch was titled 9/11, which was filmed and directed by the Naudet Brothers, Jules Naudet and his brother Gideon, along with the firefighter friend James Hannon. And this aired on CBS, on the CBS television network, and it was aired without commercial breaks. We don't want to cover intermission, about 3 intermissions in between, but for the most part it aired without commercials. And also knowing that, but actually aired, I think, for a grand total of maybe 4 times total, which is a lot to air a documentary on regular television without commercials. Now, of course, the original airing was on March 10th, 2002, on the eve of the 6-month anniversary of the attack, and then it aired again on the 1-year anniversary, and then the 5th year anniversary, which has had like a 20-minute updated version for the last 20 minutes or so, to update on where are they now 5 years later, all the firefighters who are featured in it. And most recently it aired on the 10th anniversary of 9/11. So it actually aired like about a total of four times, including the original broadcast. Now, remember when the documentary originally was broadcast, there was a huge controversy over it, because especially people who were who lost somebody in the World Trade Center were upset over the fact that this footage was going to be airing. And so it was like too soon to air this stuff. It's only like 6 months later it shouldn't be airing. And then, of course, there was the other spectrum of complaints of the fact that during the like I said, not only did it air without commercials, but it aired with all the cursing in it. The cursing on the 4-letter words, not F words in it. When the F bomb was dropped a bunch of times. Plus the S word was uttered a lot. So they felt like that the cursing should have been edited out. Of course, the documentary of the original broadcast of 9/11, the Thursday before, because it aired on Sunday night originally. The previous Thursday, on an episode of ER, was the episode where Dr. Mark Green, played by Anthony Edwards, was dying. They showed the episode of him dying. There was one particular scene where he fell out of the bed and he said shit. And then about 3 days later they had a 9/11 documentary, and so you had more cursing on regular television. So that was a controversy with the cursing and then the showing of the footage. But as the film itself, it shows what really happened on 9/11, particularly at the World Trade Center in particular, because that's what I covered. Now, originally it was not supposed to be a documentary on 9/11. What it originally was that the Naudet Brothers, who had a friend who was in the fire department named James Hannon, and they got the idea, they got together to do a documentary on a rookie firefighter. Of course, any of you who saw the movie Backdraft, or at least my review of the movie Backdraft, they're called probies, or probationary firemen. And so they wanted to film a document. It's the probationary period for a New York City fireman, at least at that time, but now, and that's still the same now. But in 2001, that was the time that a firefighter has to prove himself. That would be a good person to keep on the fire department. So they decided, okay, who should they pick? They had like 90 plus new candidates for the fire department. And so they picked this guy named Antonio Bonatalos, or Tony Bonatalos for short. And they said, oh, okay, they had to pick this kid. because they interviewed all the new firemen or rookie firemen in the fire academy. So which one should we pick? So Tony Bartolo says, "Oh, this is going to be my first job. I know it's going to sound kind of cheesy, but I always wanted to be a hero, and this is the only job that you can do that." So Naudet Brothers says, "Hey, this is the one. This is the kid. This is the one pick." And it got him stationed at James Hanlon's firehouse, Narrow 1 and Engine 7. There's another unit in the firehouse called Engine 7, which is one of the oldest, and the oldest firehouse in Manhattan. And the firehouse is stationed 7 blocks from the World Trade Center. And in the documentary, something has to go about 5 times on a single shift to the World Trade Center. And of course, the reason why it was, made into a 9/11 documentary was that Jules, on the day of September 11th, on the morning of September 11th, Jules Naudet was riding with the battalion chief, Joseph Pfeiffer. He was riding with him, and they got a call of an oil and gas on the street about 8:30 in the morning. So we're checking out this particular area, and all of a sudden they hear this airplane flying overhead, and the camera happens to turn over. This happened to turn over to the World Trade Center, and you saw the very first plane go right into the World Trade Center, and an explosion. And Jules Naudet is the only person in the world who captured the first plane going into the World Trade Center. And that's the first. And the reason why I knew that is because the weekend after the 9/11 attacks, Jules Naudet and Brother Guinea did an interview on local TV here, on local CBS station, which is the only, if you didn't have cable, like I did at that time, it was the only channel that you were able to physically see. All the other channels were wiped out because they carried the signal from the World Trade Center. And after the Trade Center collapsed, it was the end of the television signal. But Channel 2 had the signal broadcast somewhere else, so you were able to see Channel 2. And they were interviewed that weekend, and they were questioned by the FBI because they were the only ones. What Jules Naudet was the only one who captured the first plane going into the World Trade Center. Everybody else captured the second plane. And Guinea Naudet captured the second plane going in. So what happened was they captured the only ones who captured both planes going into the Trade Center. And of course, they also captured when the Tower 2 collapsed, or World Trade Center 2 collapsed, and it was a dramatic thing. When you look at Joseph Chief Pfeiffer's face, and his face completely changed, and everybody was running right out, trying to get out. And they noticed that Father Michael Judge, who was a chaplain of the fire department, was the first official casualty of the 9/11 attacks. It was the first official casualty, so that's a little bit of trivia for anybody who's into that stuff. And so they captured how Jules Naudet and the firemen got out. Those who were able to get out, and the particular firehouse where Tony Bartolo was stationed was the only firehouse in Manhattan that didn't lose a single person or a single firefighter. And at the time it was called the Miracle Firehouse because they didn't lose anybody. But they showed how everybody got back. Even Tony got back. Yes, he was off duty that day. And he went out with the retired chief to the World Trade Center, and then eventually came back about like 9 hours later after the attacks. He came back to the firehouse eventually. It was like the last one to come back to the firehouse after the other towers collapsed. But here comes one of the bigger controversies of the 9/11 documentary, was the fact that after all the firefighters decided there was nothing more that they could do, so they all walked back to the firehouse of Engine 7 and Naudet 1 firehouse, and they didn't stay at the World Trade Center site. They didn't stay there. They went back to the firehouse, and they stayed there. And that's when the naturally, of course, that's when a lot of people who didn't live in New York City, even people who lived in New York, like I do, would complain, oh, how come they stay in because they were called as heroes, even though almost 3,000 people died in the World Trade Center alone. How come they didn't stay there to rescue people as soon as the towers collapsed? How come they didn't stay to pull people out? How come they were all hanging out in the firehouse? It was one of the big controversies, and the reason why they stayed there, and it wasn't mentioned in the film, was the fact that they were ordered to stay there. One of the deputy chiefs called them and said to them, "Don't. We have so many people here to rescue people. We don't need any more people. So stay there. Stay in the firehouse." And they were ordered to stay there. So nobody else went back to the fire. And one of the firemen says, "Oh, maybe we should go back down there. I think we should go back there." But they were ordered to stay there. So when Tony, or the probate fireman that was supposed to be the center of the documentary, says, "I can't believe your mother effers." You know, he actually said the word motherfucker. Excuse my language. I can't believe all you motherfuckers here. I'm searching for death, thinking that all you guys were wiped out and killed. I'm looking also all this shit. You're looking for all you guys, looking for your bodies. And meanwhile, you guys, your suckers are back here chilling out, eating oranges. And he kind of threw them out a little bit. And that's why part of another controversy of the film Samuel with that they were all hanging out in the firehouse because they were ordered to stay. Because they were ordered to stay there. I can't stress that enough. For those of you who've never seen it, I know I have seen recently. I've seen a video, like almost a half-hour video of somebody complaining, "Oh, they just happened to be there, in the right place at the right time to get the film." Well, you can say the same thing with Abraham Zapruder when he shot the Kennedy assassination in Dallas. He happened to be in the right place at the right time too. So you're going to say that he's part of the conspiracy too. Saying that the whole 9/11 film was staged because he just happened to be there at the right time to get the plane going in the first plane going in the tower and all that stuff. Which totally ticked me off to no end. That people would put those videos out to say that it was all part of this. You know, that the 9/11 documentary, the neighborhoods were fake. There was actually a hologram of a plane going to the Trade Center. I heard all that crap, and all that stuff is just disputed. If it was faked, then what happened to all the 3,000 people who were killed there? Explain that one. Because one of my neighbors lost his son down there in the Trade Center. So you want to tell me where has he been for the last 13 years? If it was faked, or it was a fake film, or the planes were like holograms. Come on, give me a break. Or that was they purposely destroyed the buildings and killed 3,000 people so they can build something new there. And that conspiracy theory. Or James Ventura 9/11 documentary show, or conspiracy theory show. He said it was an inside, false flag attack, an inside job so we can go to war in Iraq. I hate all that stuff. James Ventura put a pretty good convincing argument, but he's like all the other conspiracy nuts out there. Even though I grew up watching him announce wrestling on TV. But in terms of the film itself, it's anybody who has not seen this film, and at least the original version of it, you really miss it. I believe the original version is on iTunes, I believe. At least on the 10th anniversary edition, they mention the fact that you can see the original version of the 9/11 documentary on iTunes. So like I said, if anybody who hasn't seen the 9/11 documentary by the Naudet Brothers, you're really missing out. Because there's like the documentary on 9/11, they're only fully within Tower 1. And if it was in Tower 2, all of them would have been dead. But they did put And when the 10th anniversary, there was like two, even though all the firefighters from Engine 7901 lived through the attacks, but two of them had died of from the 9/11 cancers, and one of them was interviewed in the original 9/11 documentary and the 5th anniversary one edition. But he died like in February, and another one died like in March. He was not in. I forgot the name of the other guy. I know one of them. First one I mentioned was John O'Neill. He was interviewed in the original 9/11 documentary and in the 5th edition one. The other one he was not interviewed, but he was filmed at the World Trade Center site after the collapse of the World Trade Center buildings. But in terms of the film itself, you should all go out and see this thing. If you haven't got a chance, I don't know if the whole thing is on YouTube. There's like bits and pieces of it, and other people who are trying to debunk the 9/11 documentary. Those of you who've done so, you're a bunch of, I have to say this, excuse my language, you're a bunch of fucking morons, right? To debunk this video and to say that the Naudet Brothers and James Hannon were in on it, in on the 9/11 attack. You're a bunch. The person who put that video up should be tarred and feathered for applying that. Sorry for that, man. But the person is a moron to apply that. Me, I'm not applying anything. I'm just doing a review of this film, and in each version, I'm satisfied. Well, the 5th anniversary one I didn't really watch because this video again, and then I realized I heard they have an update on it. I missed most of the updated version, but now for the 10th anniversary one. I know that Jules Naudet got married. They had a couple of kids. I know that Tony Montanos, who still works for the fire department, but I think the contamination unit, I think what he works at now. He got married and has a kid, and a lot of the other firefighters who were in that firehouse has majority of them has retired or transferred to another house, and how some of the firemen were affected by it. A bunch of them went into counseling over it, and they did go into, at least in the 10th anniversary edition, they did go into the how the air and the World Trade Center affected them, because it did affect them. And they did go in there and they bashed Christine Todd Women, who was the head of the EPA then, and said all the air was safe. If it was safe, all these rescue workers who went down there will be dying of cancer that they developed from breathing the wonderful air that was down there, and you could smell it. Because I know it was, even though technically north of the World Trade Center, living in northern Queens, it was downwind because the wind was coming off from the south, so the wind was blowing the air from the World Trade Center to where I live here in Queens, and it was, you could smell it. You could smell it in the air. The death of the air, you could smell it. I mean, you knew that. I knew then that it wasn't safe. And this was like that afternoon. And the next day, it wasn't safe. So that's my review of the 9/11 documentary by the Naudet Brothers. Please click on it. Please rate it. Feel free to comment. Please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video onto your Facebook pages. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.